I just got back from the theater. It was a little rough. So I lost the episode last week. Punishment was I had to go to a movie theater, watch all the trailers, and then leave right as the movie's starting. So here's the story.
Yes.
I found a movie called The Beekeeper with Jason Statham.
Sounds amazing.
I had never really heard of it. I didn't know anything about it, but I was like, it's gotta be fun.
Sure.
Jason Statham, and
why not
make it bees and cool and stuff. I don't know.
I'd watch a beekeeping movie any day. Bees, top 10 movie.
Honestly, I'll talk about bees one of these days for my topic. And so I was like, this will be kind of interesting because it had to be something that you would want to watch. So I found a showtime. Went to it a little late because the car I was going to take was parked in. So I was like, I'll still just, I don't know, I'll see what happens when I get there. The poor lady selling tickets and stuff, I think she was kind of newer to the whole ticket thing, and she was doing concessions at the same time.
She's struggling.
Basically the only person out there, and I kind of felt bad for her, but she sold me a ticket. I went in. I tried to get a seat right next to the aisle, so I could just sneak in and out.
Slip out. Yep.
I accidentally chose the wrong side. Walked all the way in front of everybody.
Was it full?
No. There was probably about 15, 20 people there, which I was kind of surprised about for middle of the day.
Yeah.
On a Thursday.
I wonder if it was a snow day today. We've had some gnarly weather.
Maybe. Yeah. Not super great roads, but I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, I walked in, sat down, got all settled, watched about 10 seconds of a tennis movie with Zendaya, and then it showed like the Cinemark membership.
Yep.
Then it told me to watch movies on the big screen, not on my phone. Then it started, and I was like, I'm out of here. So I literally sat there for a minute.
Oh, that's so funny.
And then I just got up and left.
This is a punishment I'm really happy that I didn't lose.
Yeah.
I'm a big closure guy.
Yeah.
I'm a bit like, if you start something, I really would like it to end.
Yeah.
Mallory, my wife, is like, let's start a movie, and then 35 minutes in, it'd be like, I kind of want to like do dishes and maybe take a shower. I'm like, nope. I know it's a 3-hour movie, but we have to watch the whole thing.
You have to. That's what we have to do.
Welcome to Learn Me Something, everyone. This is the competitive teaching podcast. We both compete to present a topic. Better topic wins. Worst topic does a punishment, and it's voted on by you pointing at the camera, the listeners, and I won this last one.
Yeah, you did.
I was very happy about it. It's hard to beat land diving.
I knew you had it. I was so into it. It was such a good topic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I brought an equally good one today.
Okay. What's up, Nat?
2 pieces of business before we start. Number 1, we just did our big episode 1 premiere. If you haven't listened to episode 1 of season 4, go listen now. But also on social media, we did a giveaway for anyone who shared the Instagram story. Earlier, we did a random number generator. Put everyone in. The winner is Katie Basnet. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for supporting the show. Let us know what you want from the merch store.
Go find something and we'll send it to you.
Yep. We'll send it to me and I'll bring it to you sometime.
Oh, that'll work.
It's just easier.
We do it all sorts of ways.
Congrats. Second order of business. quick.
I love clapping. I'm a big clapper and a big chanter, if you don't know.
A huge chanter. Second order of business.
Katie. Okay, go ahead.
This isn't really business. I was just thinking about this.
Okay.
Do you remember, of course you do, when we were in high school, there's no point to me telling this story. I just thought about it and it made me laugh out loud. We got a stick and like an old t-shirt or cloth, and I don't know if it was like kerosene or gasoline or what, but we made a torch.
Yeah.
Like a old style chomping through the trees in the woods torch.
Indiana Jones type of torch.
Yeah. And then us and like, I don't know, 4 other people all put one hand on the torch holding it up in the air, and then we ran down our neighborhood from one house to another house. We probably passed 20 homes in between.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And then we used it, so we started it at your place, ran to our other friend's house with it, and we're like cheering in the middle of the streets in the neighborhoods with like this huge burning torch, and then we lit a fire at their place and hung out. Why did that happen?
Because it's cool.
It's just...
Because we were moving, it's like the Olympics or something, we were moving the flame. It's like you hang out at one place and then you go to the next place, but we had to have a fire because it was cold. So we just took the flame from my house and then went to their house and started it with it.
I had forgotten about that, and then I was scrolling through my old pictures trying to find something and saw that picture of us all holding it and laughed so hard. And like, how did the neighbors not call... We literally looked like an angry mob.
That's true.
How did no one call the police?
Maybe if we all had torches, and then maybe if there's like a pitchfork or two, they would have, but...
I'm just picturing...
there's just one torch.
Picture you're 53 years old. You know, you got home from work. It's the most standard day ever. You work at a business. You're just sitting at a computer typing. You get home and you're tired and your back kind of hurts a little bit, and you're like, what does outside look like? Let me look at the mountains real fast. And you just see a bunch of like 16-year-olds running down a street with a huge torch. What would you do? Honey, come here.
I would go join.
You missed it. I promise there was just an angry mob. You can't see it anymore, but I promise it was there.
They ran by torch and everything. Yeah, it was all good. We weren't there to like burn down anything.
Yeah, just moving the torch.
Or protest it was, it was good. It was heroic. I felt good about it.
There's no reason for it. That just felt like a learn me something worthy story. Yeah. And now, listeners, you know us and our friends.
That's true. That's
just
true.
A little bit better.
That is a telling piece of information about both of us.
A last note on that. And then I'll start. I won last time, and I want to go first this time.
Fair.
If we had the same equipment, the same resources, and someone brought that up as an idea, I think I'd do it.
I would do it for sure.
I think, 26, 27 years old, doesn't matter.
It's still do it. The older you get, the more people probably would be concerned. But I think we could still pull it off.
Well, I hope we're 35, 40 someday still.
Then we'll all get torches and pitchforks for sure.
Pitchforks. We'll fight the system. Josiah, I'm going to get right into it now that I've delayed us with that long story.
Without any further ado.
I have far too little... How far are we? I want to make sure I'm doing good.
Okay, time.
7 minutes-ish. I have far too little time to introduce to you the man who sold the Eiffel Tower twice.
Never heard of it.
Yes! I'm so excited about this topic. Meet Count Victor Lustig, the smoothest con man that ever lived.
Okay.
Woo-hoo! Now, I have to say, this entire account of his life is kind of shrouded in mystery. Mm-hmm. We don't have full truths or full certainty or anything. Mm-hmm. All we have is records from investigators and things judges have said, witness testimonies, personal interviews from a man that just can't be trusted to speak truthfully. And to blindly, this is a warning to all you listeners and to you, Josiah, to blindly believe the information that we have on Victor is to continue being conned by a man who died 75 years ago. He is a charmer, a gentleman, a chameleon, and a spectacle. Buckle up. This one's going to be interesting. So.
Excellent intro, by the way.
Thanks. I practiced it. I didn't practice it, but I wrote it down because I thought it was fun.
That was good.
Just wanted to build some spins, a little bit of spins. Born in January 4th, 1890.
Okay.
Maybe. In Austria, Hungarian town. This was back when Austria-Hungary was a combined thing. I should have looked up how to say this town name. Hostinje, maybe?
Okay.
Now in the Czech Republic.
Okay.
Maybe that's where he grew up.
Okay, maybe.
His father was Ludwig. He was the royal mayor of the town.
Okay.
Or his parents were the poorest of the peasant people.
Okay.
He's made both claims.
Wait, are we sure he's a real guy?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
We have enough information, and
He's a man. Real man.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll specify throughout this topic when there's things we're pretty sure we can trust based off of the amount of information we have.
Okay.
But, we don't really know much of his backstory.
Okay.
because he was raised in abject poverty, he had to... Yeah, exactly. He had to steal to survive. Unless, of course, he was raised by royalty in a castle.
Then he was raised to steal just for fun.
Steal to have a good time. Again, we don't know. He only stole from the greedy and the dishonest. Maybe. Starting out, at least, and according to him.
Okay. This is like be a real life Robin Hood. Maybe.
Yeah, we don't know. This is like the least certain, least truthful opener of the podcast maybe ever.
We're just making stuff up, and we're having a good time.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just giving you, there's a lot of mystery here.
That's fair.
I'm painting a picture of what maybe, what it could have been. Early teenager, we're getting closer to what we're more certain is true. He quickly climbed the criminal ladder of success. So he started with your really classic, he started out just begging for money on the streets, which turned into pickpocketing a little bit, which then turned into kind of street hustling, and then some burgling. Did you know to burgle is a verb?
Yes, and that's when you take without
force.
annoying anybody? Without force.
To take without force.
That's a better way.
To rob is to take with force. Armed force.
Gotcha.
Or just being big and scary.
With your arms.
Yeah. To burgle is just to take without anyone knowing you ever took. More calm-like. Yeah. But he was always clever. He was always preying on the rich. So all the people that come in for tourism or whatever, they're your guy.
Okay.
It's still that way today.
Sure.
You travel to a new country, everyone's like, watch your wallets. Right, exactly. Fast forward, so this was, when did I say he was born? 1890. Fast forward to the 1920s.
Okay, classic.
I know.
Welcome back.
The second I read the dates, I was like, this makes total sense. Welcome back to the early 1900s. World War I has ended. We are in the raging 20s. Victor decides he's going to move to the U.S. He is, he sees the United States. He sees the American dreams. Deals are being made. People are hustling. Everyone's grinding, looking for a buck, trying to find extra cash.
Crazy time to be alive.
Perfect environment for Conman Vicky. He moves in, quickly becomes a millionaire, maybe. His late daughter, I read this part of the article and was like, what? One article mentions a late daughter of his that gives an interview, an account of her growing up. And she says, we know he's married. That's a fact.
Okay.
And we know that he had a mistress, also a fact, and that led to some issues in his life.
Okay. Normally
as they do.
Yeah.
But one article is his late daughter says that, he was always lavishing us with things and money and gifts and, luxury items, all these things. And I'm like, okay. And she says that he raised a secret family and that she was part of that secret family.
Oh, I've heard stories about that. Talk about messy.
You're telling
That's
me.
Crazy.
So, maybe he had a daughter. Seems like she seems to think he's his daughter. Okay. She is his daughter. Yeah, I said that right.
He's her daughter.
Nailed it. He becomes known as the Scarred to police and investigators because he has a big scar down the side of his face. Fitting name.
Oh, I was like, I've never heard that word, but past tense, he is one who was scarred.
To be scarred.
Okay.
Yeah. He burgled and then was scarred.
Okay.
And I think that was due to a past love situation gone wrong as well. Some type of bar fight situation. Bad scar on his face.
Fighting over a girl, maybe. Okay.
But he becomes very successful as a con man, doing classic con man things.
Quick question.
Yes.
Does he have a mustache?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
You can...
big one.
You can see a picture of him, actually.
Okay.
I don't know if it's big... Oh, now I'm second-guessing myself. This is a classic Stanley from The Office. Does he have a mustache or does he not have a mustache? Remember that bit?
Kinda.
I'm pretty sure he has a mustache.
Maybe.
And I know Stanley does.
Okay. We'll pretend he does, if he doesn't.
Yeah, so he's doing sleight of hand. Some of these I was reading about, they name the cons, but I'm like, how do you pull that off? Like, he managed to sell bonds to a property he didn't own. Or no, he had bank-owned bonds somehow, and he tried to sell those back to the bank to get the cash, and the bank gave him the cash for the bonds, and then he also, with sleight of hand, I'm guessing it was a briefcase switch. Like a sneaky, the con man.
Yeah, he took the bonds back too.
He got the bonds and
How
the
is that
cash.
possible?
I don't know, but he did that. Apparently, this guy's very clever.
He brought like 6 briefcases and was doing that like the ball and cup
I'm
trick.
just
Okay,
gonna-
here, let me just. Okay, these 3 are for you. Okay.
Yeah. He did a fake racehorse scheme. Apparently, he was pretty good at that one.
Okay, like he pretend to be a racehorse.
Exactly. He's like, hey, I'm the hottest new racehorse. Buy me for $1 million. He pretended to be a music producer and went on ships. Apparently like warships. This was back when the war was still happening.
Yeah.
Getting investors to invest in all these Broadway productions he's planning, and they're just all fake.
Okay, so he's just a smooth talker.
A smooth talker.
Got it.
Yeah, he's
Confident,
a charismatic. He has a Ten
I guess you
Commandments.
said that, but yeah, it makes sense now. It's clicking.
Exactly. There are an official universal 10 Commandments for Conman,
Okay.
and people are pretty sure that he was the one who created these commandments. I'll read them later.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Fake real estate investments, all sorts of stuff. He just he moves to America and he becomes more than like a street crook.
Sure.
He becomes like this strategic, smart con man. This whole thing, how am I doing? I got a lot to cover, so I gotta be fast.
Okay.
This is all a setup for the big score. He has a couple clever. I'm gonna give you an overview of his whole life, but he has a couple clever, funny cons.
Mm-hmm.
But the big one of note, is the selling of the Eiffel Tower.
Seems like a pretty big one.
Yeah.
This is like Despicable Me in real life.
Seriously. Well, yeah.
Kinda. But the con man version. Not the villain version.
Not the shoot it with a shrink ray version.
Right. Yes.
So, old con man Vicky, he's reading in the newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
He sees some article that's talking about the costs of maintaining the Eiffel Tower.
Okay.
This gives him an idea. He's in the U.S., but he's like, oh, people are talking about how expensive this monument is to maintain. Probably keep it rust-free. I don't know. Well, it all goes into that.
Right.
He's like, this gives me an idea. He flies to Paris, and this is such a silly thing. He has this idea. If the Eiffel Tower is so expensive to maintain, why don't we just sell it? Let's just get rid of it.
We can make some money off of it.
I live in the United States. I was raised in what is now Czech Republic.
That is bold.
I'm gonna move to Paris, and I'm gonna sell the Eiffel Tower. The Eiffel Tower, not the Eiffel of Tower.
The Tower of Eiffel.
The Tower of Eiffel.
That's what it is.
So this part of the story, I should preface, this is corroborated by accounts from investigators, special agents, judges. So I think, maybe, that we can trust this part of the story as accurate and something that really did happen.
Okay.
Specifics of his life are questionable, but the selling of the Eiffel Tower...
That happened, for sure.
Yeah, we're confident about that.
Okay.
How would you go about doing this?
I would make friends with whoever owns it, convince them
The
that
country?
Yeah, I guess. France.
I would make friends with France.
Yes, I would do that somehow. Like, I don't know, accidentally bump into somebody at where they... I don't know. And then you make friends with them, and then you just convince them that it's not worthwhile. And even though it was like a symbol of their country now, that it's not worth the money. And then somehow I would have to make sure I can cash out on that.
That's a good thought. You added a step in there that you didn't need.
Make friends with France.
Exactly.
I shouldn't have done it. What a waste of time.
Step number 1, is to become France.
Okay.
So
why make friends with France? You can just be France.
Exactly. You don't have to convince France to do anything. All you have to do, no joke, is convince other people that you are France.
Ah.
How interesting and clever is that?
It's very, I won't say clever, but it's interesting.
Step 1. He needs a forger.
Okay.
He needs someone who can get him some stationery with the official government seal.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not that hard. He's in the criminal world. He knows forgers. They get it done. Piece of cake.
Okay.
Forge the seal. Good to go. Step 2. Go to Paris and book a stay at a very reputable, fancy-looking business deal wheelin' hotel.
Yes.
Right? Does that. Number 3. From the hotel, write letters from that stationery to the this is where things get interesting, to the most successful businessmen in the French scrap metal industry.
Okay, so the only people, I thought he was going to try and sell it to another country and be like,
Nope.
You can put this up. Look how cool it
No,
is.
it's so much stranger.
Okay, so continue.
So he forges French official documents.
Yes.
He sends letters as a French government official
Okay.
to scrap metal industry leaders. He says, hey, I have to talk to you guys about something. It's very important. Meet me at this hotel where I'm staying. You can trust me because I'm in a fancy hotel. They all come. He sits them down. They convene the Council of French Scrap Metal. And he says, reportedly, this is a direct quote, maybe, because of engineering faults, costly repairs, and political problems that I cannot discuss, the tearing down of the Eiffel Tower has become mandatory.
Okay, so he's just like vague about it.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm France. We can't have this anymore.
I'm France. Can't talk specifics about why we're doing this, but we're tearing
probably
it down.
telling people, gotta be secretive about this. Because
Exactly.
We don't want people to know.
Exactly.
Cause a ruckus. Okay.
He says, and you know what? I've called you here because you guys are honest businessmen in the scrap industry. Highest bidder takes it. You guys can demolish the Eiffel Tower, keep all of the metal, sell it however you want to, do whatever you want to. And these businessmen, without questioning it, are like, this is the opportunity of a lifetime.
Well, I guess they probably are like, we can sell off pieces of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, probably rich people would like, I have a chunk of the Eiffel Tower built into a table or refrigerator or something. You know, my garage frame was built with Eiffel Tower.
And then there's the one guy that's like, oh yeah, we could melt this down and make
Exactly. Oh, you want a spoon set?
Oh yeah,
sounds
we could
good.
Do that. Just throw it in with the rest of the metal.
These are my Eiffel Tower spoons. So he's talking to him. He's like, highest bidder wins. He's looking the whole time at all these guys, looking for his mark. So he's like, you guys go. You think about it. Make me an offer.
Okay.
They all go. I shouldn't say that. All we know is that multiple people put in offers. Okay. Multiple of the companies.
That's wild.
So he convinced not one company, but many of the scrap metal companies. Yep. But he narrows in on this guy named Andre Poisson. I don't know if I said that right.
Sounds French.
Yeah.
Poisson. Probably.
Vicky saw that Andre was kind of this insecure guy who was trying to take his place in the business world. Mm-hmm. You know, rise up in the French business culture, make a name for himself. And he sees this. He could just see it in his face that this is an eager guy here who wants it. So he puts in an offer, of course, and he invites Andre to a private meeting. And Vicky's like, I keep calling him Vicky. Count Victor is like, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, the sale of the Eiffel Tower is good, but I think I can make a little bit more off of this guy than just selling the entire Eiffel Tower to him. So he sits him down, maybe, and is like, hey, here's the deal. I am a government official, as you know, because of my official documents.
Look at this notepad.
Exactly. See the seal? Official. I am corrupt, though. Here's the situation. I am not getting paid enough. I'm tired of government work. They're paying me too low. I'm working too hard. And, Andre, I'm just not sure I can guarantee that I can sell you this Eiffel Tower over some of the other bidders. And Andre's like, what do I have to do? And he's like, you know what? I think if you're willing to offer me a little bit of a bribe, I think I can secure you as the number one pick. Andre's like, done. So he sells him.
Interesting.
He sells him the cost of the Eiffel Tower, prices it out, and then slaps a bribe to a fake government official on top of it.
That he gets it. Oh, okay.
Yep. Andre totally buys it. He's like, I'm in. I don't even know how you do. Like, was this pre-contracts existing?
No.
I don't even know how you pull this off.
Maybe he just got his little official seal notepad.
Faked a contract.
Wrote out.
Probably.
I, just in like green crayon, I will sell Eiffel Tower to...
Yeah.
Croissant.
To Croissant. Would he not... So if I'm buying a national monument, if I have that kind of money...
Yes.
Could I not call the President of the United States, and say, hey, there's a single government official offering me this... Can I just get a second opinion that this is possible? He's like, doesn't matter. This one guy is good enough for me.
Interesting. Well, it's interesting to me also that he picked out the guy that seemed the most insecure, which I'm sure he did on purpose.
Oh, yeah. He chose his mark carefully.
Because then he's probably like, you got, like, there's no time. Like, we have to do it quickly, too.
Yep. So, he sells it for 70,000 francs, I think.
Yeah.
Which I did the exchange and then did the inflation thing.
Right.
Did all the Googling. It comes out to about $1.5 million in U.S. currency today.
Is the sale of the Eiffel Tower?
Plus the bribe. Yep. Total, he sold a national monument for over $1 million. Almost $2 million. With nothing more than a single forged document.
I thought what he would do is just take the bribe money and then bounce before they meet again about the actual sale. But he got all of it.
He got them all. He secured the deal and paid for the tower and then got out of Dodge. So he runs to Austria, gets away with the money.
Okay.
And he's checking the papers constantly.
Yeah.
He's looking at the news.
Yep.
Nothing. He picked this guy because he suspected this guy wants to make a name in the business world.
Right.
He's going to be too embarrassed and too ashamed to admit that he got fooled in such a way, get police involved, all the public will know how dumb he was. Like, you just bought the Eiffel Tower from one guy who said you could.
Oh, it's kind of brilliant.
Yeah. So he stays completely quiet, doesn't tell the police, just is out $1.5 million and is like, I'll just deal with it. I can't tarnish my name.
Because he's got enough that it's not, like, it wouldn't ruin him. Oh, man.
Old Vicky gets off scot-free. He waits a while. I don't know how long he waits. He comes back. I assume he picks another guy from the same group he talked with. Like, hey, last deal fell through.
Connections.
He does it a second time. Successfully. The exact same thing. This time, though, people get involved and, like, the police gets involved and stuff. And so he flees back to the United States. Doesn't try it a third time, but successfully sells the Eiffel Tower to scrap metal companies 2 separate times with government bribes.
How much? Do you know how much he sold that one for?
I don't know about the second time.
Okay.
Also, one of the articles I read about it said it was confirmed multiple times.
Could be more than twice.
Could possibly. I also read just twice, so
we'll just go with that.
We know more than once.
Sure. But that's crazy. I can't imagine it happening more than twice.
No. There's like, at some point, like, these scrap metal guys have to talk.
Like, yeah. You're in the industry. Did you hear that? Hey, somebody tried to buy the Eiffel Tower.
There's a guy out here trying to sell the Eiffel Tower. It's just a scam. Don't go. It's like when places have to send out emails like, hey, people are emailing in our name. Don't listen to them. It's a scam.
Don't get involved.
It's the 1900s version of that.
That's crazy.
They're targeting scrap metal companies. Stay away. Don't sell me the Eiffel Tower. It's tempting.
It's there to stay.
But don't do it. Yeah. So he goes back to the U.S. That's the biggest, most exciting thing he got away with. Things go downhill with him, and I don't want to take up too much time, so I'm going to briefly go through the rest of his life.
Okay.
And then we'll call it. He invents a box called the Romanian box.
Okay.
He claims that you can put any currency in there, and using radium, which is a throwback to a topic you did a year or two ago.
I still think about that sometimes. The Radium Girls, Season 1, I think.
So back in the 1900s, if you haven't listened to that episode, back in the 1900s, people thought radium could do anything.
Yeah, miracle drug, basically.
Yep. He jumps on that trend. He says, I've got this box. If you put a piece of currency in this, it will copy the currency onto, it'll duplicate it. I don't know.
Was he selling it as like a counterfeiting machine, or like this is legit?
I think this is real. I think real.
Wow.
It's like there's a fine line between counterfeiting and this genuinely just makes you more currency.
Yeah,
that's legit.
The government will be fine with this.
And
I was like, I talked to them about it. It's fine. Yeah.
The funny thing is, it's so. I feel like all the stuff he does is so clever, but also so stupid. And how are people falling for this?
He must be the smoothest guy.
Oh yeah. So this one, you put currency in there, and then you have to wait 6 hours. He tells them that's how long it takes to prep this thing.
Don't open it.
Yeah, if you open it, it's busted.
You have to buy a new one.
Yeah, but so the first time he does it with people, he sits with them the whole 6 hours, and he has the box set up to where there's a second currency of the same type hidden in there. So the box is like this secret door trap thing that when you open it a second time, both bills come out and you get, exactly. So he waits around with them and they see both bills and they're like, no way. He's like, I'm telling you. And he says even, go to the bank, confirm that that's legit currency and totally good, bring it back to me. So he sends them to the bank, they go check the bank, they come back, they're like, holy cow, both bills, completely real. And then he's like, all right, you can buy this. Thousands of bucks. And
I see.
Yeah,
okay.
So they buy the box from him, and he's like, all right, start running cash. It takes about 6 hours. The time they try to do it themselves, he's got 6 hours to get away.
And they're like, wait a second.
Yep. So,
oh my goodness.
Thousands and thousands of dollars, and he sells multiple of these. This is the start of his great decline. Is that he sells one of these magic boxes to a sheriff in Texas. Seems foolish to me, but he goes for it. He sells it for thousands of dollars, which today has to be so much money.
Yeah.
The sheriff, shortly after, of course, finds out that he's been tricked, and he manages to track Victor down all the way from Texas to Chicago.
Oh.
Clever sheriff, I guess. He manages to find him, track him down. He grabs him. I imagine early 1900 style.
Yeah, the collar.
Shakes him up. Why, yada? Why would you do this? And then I'm gonna. I don't know. Funny saying. I'm gonna beat the living daylights out of you.
That wasn't very funny.
Forgive me. Anyway. So
I'm not entertained.
I hated that joke. So he gets there. He's mad. He's like, you tricked me. I probably gave you my whole life savings for this.
Yeah.
And you tricked me. He's got him against a wall. Probably guns out. I'm going to arrest you. Victor manages to con him a second time. He's like, hey, chill.
That's what Austrians sound like.
Exactly. He says, listen, you must have just done it wrong. You must have just been using the machine wrong.
Yeah. Well, I'll help you.
Yeah. He's like, I'll help you figure it out. You were just doing it wrong. It wasn't a scam. I was being legit. He's like, you know what? To show you that I'm being legit, I'm going to give you a bunch of money. I'm going to give you all your money back. Like, I'm sorry. It's my money back guarantee. This won't happen again. The the sheriff lets go of his collar and is like, all right, you know what? If you pay me back, we're even. I'll get out of here. I never want to see you again. He's like, okay. He gives him all the money back, all counterfeit. And the sheriff finds out it's counterfeit because the bills aren't working. He tries to take him to the bank, that type of thing. And so Victor escapes, gone with the wind. That is what makes the Secret Service notice him.
Yes. I actually know this. I know this. I just recently learned about this.
Oh, really?
Because the Secret Service originally started out as an anti-counterfeiting
How interesting
company.
is that?
Very interesting.
Yeah. So the Secret Service, they're like, we're onto this guy. And
it was wasn't it Teddy Roosevelt? Was he the one that started it?
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe not. That I just pulled that out of somewhere.
Teddy.
Let's move on. That's not. It could very well not be true.
This is the topic full of maybes anyway, so
okay.
it's good
Maybe.
to go. Turns out, Victor's been secretly in the counterfeiting game for a long time, and apparently, he has a partner, but apparently he's very, very good at it. And according to Joseph Bowling, who is a specialist in authenticating notes,
the secretest of services.
The secretist. He says the loose stick notes were the super notes of the era. He copied $100 bills, which was very, very risky. It's the highest that they're checked for legitimacy.
Right.
A judge later says he became like some other government, issuing money in rivalry with the United States Treasury. It was feared that a run of fake bills this large could wobble international confidence in the dollar.
Really?
So he's doing so much of this and doing it so well that the government is like, wait, we
need
might
to rethink some things.
Yeah, we might lose our whole economy to this one
stop
guy.
Using the dollar.
So this guy goes from selling Eiffel Towers to scrap metal fools to bringing down U.S. economies with $100 bills. So race is on. They hunt this guy down. They could never find him because he's a classic, clever con man. There should be multiple movies about this guy. Apparently, maybe, he traveled with a trunk of disguises everywhere he went. So at any given time, he could become a rabbi or a priest or a bellhop or a baggage man. He could just become a different person at will very quickly.
What's a baggage man? Is that like...
A bag man, like a... I don't know.
Isn't that
someone
what a
who
bellhop
takes...
is? Or is that just a doorman?
I think that's maybe just a doorman.
A bellhop is the doorman.
A baggage man... It could be like an airport thing, maybe. I don't know.
I feel like
they're probably similar.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry. I get distracted by little things.
Yeah. Eventually, they catch him. May 10th, 1935, they grab his shoulder and they say, listen here, buckaroo, we got you.
He's like 50-some?
Mid-50s-ish.
Okay.
And it takes him a long time. Since the Eiffel Tower, 10 years have passed, and he's just been living the dream, robbing everyone, going crazy on the whole wide world.
Yeah, probably thinks he can do whatever he wants.
Exactly. Secret Service is thrilled. They capture him. They've been trying to grab him for a long time. They put him in an inescapable federal detention center, which you know what that means.
Prison.
No, I guess.
It
means he escapes. It's inescapable. It takes him a few months. I'm telling you, this guy is legendary. They call it inescapable. He managed to somehow sneak in a sharp object. We don't know how.
Mustache.
Hiding it in his...
Sorry, I have to check the mustache.
Only option. And so he goes to prison a few months, or we don't know if he got in there with one or if he acquired some, because it was from May. September 1st was the day he escaped. So he could have got his hands on something sharp somehow. He manages to cut the bars on the windows.
That's wild.
Somehow. We don't know the details.
Maybe,
yeah. Actually, this part is confirmed because it was all official government building,
Nobody else could have done it.
Yep. And then he tears up his sheets and he ties all the pieces together and makes a rope. And he climbs out the window and repels from the window. Like Rapunzel, in the coolest, most criminal, I'm smarter than you way. And there are accounts that said that people stopped all over the streets and were staring at him and pointing at him and stuff and like, whoa, look at him. And he made a whole show out of it. He said he didn't say this. Account said that he planned for it. He grabbed a rag out of his pocket and started cleaning the windows on his way down. People thought he was the window cleaner just being fun, and so he cleaned it, made a big show, was smiling, lands on the ground. There's a crowd looking at him. It says that he smiles and bows. They applaud, and then he just walks away. And then shortly after the government officials realize he escaped, they run to the building, and they're like, oh no, what just happened?
The confidence.
Yep. In his cell, on his pillow, was a handwritten note. It was a quote from Les Mis. Said he allowed himself to be led in a promise. Jean Valjean had his promise. Jean Valjean?
Jean Valjean.
Jean Valjean.
Yeah.
I got one out of two.
Yeah, that's true.
Jean Valjean had his promise. Even to a convict, especially to a convict, it may give the convict confidence and guide him on the right path. Law was not made by God, and man can be wrong. That was it. He was gone.
Yeah, they need to make a movie about this.
Isn't this the most interesting guy ever?
He is a movie character.
Seriously. They catch him almost a month later.
Okay.
The final movie scene. I'm not kidding. This guy is just a pre-written movie. The grand finale of all of this is a car chase. He's getting into a car, and the Secret Service had been tracking him and finally caught up with him. He sees the Secret Service in the car. They jet after him. He jumps in, takes off in the car. They have a full car chase race scene for 9 blocks in downtown Pittsburgh. And it ends in a crash. The Secret Service finally just gets next to him. They're side by side, Fast and Furious style. Yank the wheel right, slams into his car, sends him flying. He crashes. They jump out, says, "Put your hands up! Put your hands up where I can see them! Get on your back!" Guns blazing.
My back?
Yeah, hands behind your back. Okay. Get on your
Lay down like a starfish.
And then he crawls out of the car and does what he says, does what they say, and then says, "Well, boys, here I am."
And that's it.
At the sentencing, the lead secret agent, the Secret Service agent, leans over to him and says, "Count, you're the smoothest con man that ever lived." Then they send him to Alcatraz, which I was like...
Azkaban.
Send him straight to Azkaban. They stripped him naked because they were worried he would pull the same tricks again, find something sharp.
Mustache.
Yep, they send him into the prison and parade him in front of everyone completely naked, and they hose him down to make sure that he's not hiding anything, he can't escape. He was listed in Alcatraz as Robert V. Miller.
Really? I say that like I know who that is. Oh, Robert Miller.
Oh!
No, I don't know.
I love that guy.
They changed his name to, keep it a secret so that people wouldn't know he was there?
Or they thought that was his real name, or he said that was his real name. We have no idea.
Okay.
And he died.
Interesting.
This is the tragic end. He died 10 years later. He had made, in his final days, he had made 1,192 medical requests and filed for over 500 prescriptions, but died of pneumonia because none of the guards believed that he was telling the truth, that he was actually sick. Because he had used that trick in the past.
Let's just say,
Checks out.
It.
Yep.
I understand.
Yep.
I'm not surprised.
In 2015, researcher and historian pored over records, documents, and lists of students in schools from the area in what is now Czech Republic.
Sure.
No record of Count Victor Lustig exists in the entire town. On his death certificate, the clerk filled out his occupation as apprentice salesman.
Kinda, if you think about it.
Yep.
He was a good salesman.
And the 10 Commandments to close. Number 1, be a patient listener. It is this, not fast talking, that gets a con man his coup. Never look bored. Wait for the other person to reveal any political opinions, then agree with them. Let the other person reveal religious views, then agree with them. Number 5 is not learn me something appropriate. Number 6, never discuss illness unless some special concern is shown. Never pry into a person's personal circumstances. They'll tell you all eventually. Never boast. Just let your importance be quietly obvious. Never be untidy, and never get drunk.
You know, I do have to say there's a few things in there that I could learn from. You know? Listen, be a good listener.
Yeah.
Be tidy. Not number 5, whatever that was.
No, not learn me something appropriate. Sorry.
But that's very interesting.
And that is the story of old Vicky, the smoothest con man that ever lived.
Quick final question.
Yep.
Do you know how to become a count or how he became a count?
No idea. I don't even know what that means. The closest reference I have is Dracula.
Or Sesame Street?
Or Sesame Street or Bunnicula. Have you ever read the child's bunny version of Dracula?
No, but I've eaten Chocula.
Okay.
So
dark Chocula and milk Chocula.
Count Chocula. Wait, you don't know what Count Chocula is? The cereal?
Oh, no? That's a real thing?
Every Halloween, they have Boo Berry, Frankenberry, and Count Chocula.
I didn't know there was a whole Halloween cereal industry.
There is. Well, it's just those 3, I think.
Wow.
I think there's another one that's a werewolf these days, but that's not part of the original trilogy. Sorry. I guess maybe I know more about being a count than I thought. That's very interesting.
Well, thanks for giving me a little extra time.
Yeah.
It's worth it. His entire life was too interesting to skip over pieces.
Yeah.
I just had to tell it all.
You can't really.
A real life, I'm trying to even, Italian Job, Ocean's 11.
Yeah, some kind of Tom Cruise stunts.
Yeah.
Like Mission Impossible.
Yeah, rappelling from the window. Yeah. That's very Tom Cruise-like.
Yeah.
Focus, I think that's a Conman movie with Will Smith.
Maybe like, what's the magic one? Now You See Me?
Now You See Me? Yep.
Talk about it.
It said he could do just about anything with a deck of cards.
Oh.
I don't know what that means.
He could like take a card and eat like a spoon.
Nacho cheese.
Do all sorts of stuff with it. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Before I go.
Yep.
Let's quick. If you want to support us on Patreon, you can.
Yes.
We have the nightclub over there.
Yes.
I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my time in the White House.
Oh.
In the White House.
Inside. You got on the inside.
I did. Went to the White House. I also was reminded of a story that I have from your topic where I almost was scammed. And so I'll tell you about that.
Yes.
Do you have a scam story?
I don't have any scam stories.
Okay, if you think of one, like how you were almost scammed or something, it's very embarrassing.
We'll talk more about scams. I do have some things to say.
Okay.
The nightclub is an exclusive only for patrons on Patreon.
Patreons. That's kind of fun, though.
I should stop talking for this episode. And you can be a patron for as little as $1. The link's in our bio.
Free trial if you want.
Yeah, free trial.
True.
It's very kind of you.
Yeah, if you'd like. If not, get a free trial, listen to it all. If you don't like it, don't listen to it.
Learn me something will always be free.
It's true.
All right. Give it to me, Josiah. What's your topic?
Do you remember sea monkeys?
Remember what it like?
Okay, it's like a childhood thing.
Okay, so it's not just an animal. It's like, remember elephants?
Remember when we used to have sea monkeys just on Earth before they went extinct?
It's not the monkeys in the can?
No. That's monkeys in a barrel. Okay, what do you remember about sea monkeys? Nothing? Okay.
Official answer, nothing.
This might change your mind. So remember they're like a little toy, like a packet, and you pour in this thing in the water, let it sit for 24 hours, and you pour in the sea monkey eggs. And then eventually they're not actually monkeys, but they're little, like, tiny little animals that swim around. You never had those?
I no recollection. I do not think I know what that is.
Okay. Well, anyway, you can do that.
It sounds cool.
And then you get, like, a little packet of food and stuff.
That's fun.
And, okay, so since you don't remember them, we'll just move on from that. I don't even know if I had some, but one of my younger brothers did.
Interesting.
And they're kind of cool. Like, you just have to really get up close and look at them.
Huh.
And they're little. They have a bunch of little legs, and they're basically like a little shrimp swimming around.
That's cool.
They're wow, I love that. I wish I could have seen those.
No, I'm understanding now. I thought it was I thought you were talking about the things that you poured water on. It was
No,
like a
no, no,
pour
no,
and
no.
grow thing.
No, like the little sponge.
Yeah.
No, it's a real creature, real animal.
Real life. That is very
And then
cool.
you pour in the eggs.
Okay.
Those are cool too, actually.
It's
Along with the washcloths that grow.
Would
when you
not
put
be
those in water.
offended if you did a whole topic on that.
I'm not doing a whole topic about sea monkeys either.
Okay.
But today, for my topic, we are going to shrink down to a microscopic level a little bit and immerse ourselves in the microscopic
Yes.
a little bit. There's some weird stuff down there.
I love it. This is screaming Magic School Bus.
Yes, it is. So get in. Wait, it can't be a bus, though. It has to be segways. We're doing a segway tour through the microscopic. So get on your helmet
Click it.
and just hop on and hold on tight.
Put on your socks with sandals. I'm trying to think of
Yes.
what the standard Segway tour person looks like.
In DC, there's quite a few, and everybody looked like this.
She's like,
Nobody looked like
I've
they were having
never
a great
been
time.
less pleased.
Yes. It's so funny. Everybody looks so bored, which, I don't know. They're fun to me.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
So I'm going to call this the teeny weeny dimension because everything is so teeny weeny. So let's go back to sea monkeys a little bit. They're actually called brine shrimp,
Okay.
and they're a crustacean
Love it.
found in saltwater.
I love a good crustacean.
So they're not actually shrimp, I guess, but they're a type of crustacean.
Yep.
Anyway, something interesting about these guys. The mother can hatch 2 types of eggs. One of them, she has like 2 little pouches on either side. One of them is like a softer shell of the egg, and that can hatch if you know the environment's fine, not too turbulent, water's great. These ones will be just fine. But the other set of eggs, if something bad is happening, but she needs to lay eggs, they can. It's basically like a time release egg. So the actual
That's cool.
the larva is developed inside, and they're just hanging out for a while till whenever they need to be ready.
Wow.
So think about it if your mom like had twins, and then one of you came out normally, and then the other one came out, and then just like in 10 years, when
Just massively.
it just like came out a fully grown adult.
That is so interesting. Like, well, your younger brother's a bit softer because he was born in a time of peace.
Yes, and your older brother is he's a little rough around the edges. he just hatched, but he's fully grown. He's got a lot to learn, but he's tough as nails.
You can take a bullet, but you can't speak English.
Anyway, so I kind of think that's why the harder shells, they call them assist.
Okay.
Not like an assist, but a cyst.
CYST.
Yeah, which is a horrible word.
Yep.
In my opinion.
Just least favorite.
They sent those on Apollo 16 and 17 to space.
Sure.
Brought them back. Fine. Some of them died. Some of them were had deformities, but survived.
Can I derail us
Pretty
for
amazing.
a split second?
Go ahead.
Do you ever wish you could have the job where you're like, let's send that up into space and see
let's
what
try
happens
it.
to it?
Yeah, because so much stuff, so much tiny little things get sent to space all the time.
That reminds me. This is not enough for a full topic, but I had this marked to tell you about. Did you read? There's a recent news article on the space station.
Yeah.
A tomato was lost, single tomato, and lost in the space station. And I think it's been a while since I've read it, but I think they found it like months later, and they were like accusing one of the astronauts up there, just like, "We know you ate it. We were doing research, and you're not." And there's like this whole thing, and then he found it, and just like, I told you guys. I just misplaced it.
Well, he probably was holding it, and then he just let go, and it floated away, and
where'd that tomato go?
I mean, it's happened to all of us, where you drop something and you just can't find it.
Exactly.
So,
and if it can float
imagine
up to,
you have to look it's not just on the ground somewhere. Could be anywhere.
it just like moves a random floating tablet. Yes, a tomato.
That
Yes.
smells horrible, but I knew it. Wait, it probably would. Anyway, let's move on.
Please, continue.
Very interesting, by the way. I love a good space story. Anyway, they're pretty tough little dudes, and that's kind of our start into this idea that things at a microscopic level, tough. Just stuff. It's a different universe down there.
Yep.
The teeny weeny dimension, and a lot of interesting things happen, and we'll continue with that later. But I want to tell you a little bit about the sea monkeys and kind of how they became marketed as. See, this is like I do like zoology things, like talk about animals, and then you talk about marketing things. So this is
it's a fun
two in one, I guess.
Yeah.
So just a quick and interesting story about sea monkeys. One day, Harold von Braunhut walked into a pet store. He came out with an idea. Ant farms are a pretty big deal. Did you at least have one of those? Or
I never had one, but I know what that is.
You look at it
I've seen
at
it
some point.
I've done seen it.
So they were popular at the time, I don't know, 70s maybe, 80s?
Sure.
I don't remember. Anyway, he's like, they should do an aquatic version of that, where you kind of have your own little ecosystem or something. And so he found these sea monkeys, which were the brine shrimp. You realize they wouldn't last long on shelves, which they did some kind of science or sorcery or magic or something. he hired a marine biologist and they cooked up something special.
Did a quick science.
They did a science one day, and then it's still a bit of a mystery how they did it, and they have patented all this, and so it's like this.
Victor was probably
big
involved.
Secret. Probably.
Yep.
He probably sold him the idea, and then it backfired. He's like, wait, actually, that was a pretty good idea. And it went on to become a really successful empire. Like, you can buy them today still.
Yeah.
Same company, and they made a whole TV show and a video game about sea monkeys. Like, they're not even called sea monkeys. He just called them that. But the interesting dark twist about this whole thing is he had to go to the U.S. Attorney General for lending money to a member of the KKK to buy weapons.
Oh no!
He was a very troubled man and quite racist. So sponsors pulled back on their sponsorships a bit, but you can still buy them.
Yep.
And there was a whole thing to do about his the empire and who would inherit the money and the patent and all that. Very interesting, but we're not really talking about that. So it's just fun to. Those are interesting because it makes you think about a microscopic level. Like, you get to see it's just small enough, it's just big enough that you could see all their little legs.
Yep.
And they're kind of translucent a little bit, and they have the creepy little eyes, and they swim around. And
do they have flagellum?
Probably.
Nice. I love a good flagellum.
Good. I think this topic's just right up your alley. I've only got 2 creatures to talk about.
Okay.
Very interesting.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of a tardigrade?
Yes.
Probably.
But I don't know why I would have.
They're also called water bears or moss piglets.
I love that.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of that term.
Okay.
Hey, you moss piglet.
Yeah, it's kind of like a...
It's endearing.
It is. It's like, yeah, you say that to like your sibling or something. It is kind of, I don't know why it's, maybe if it was pig, that would be more demeaning, but it's kind of
piglet.
It's kind of cute.
It's cute.
It's kind of cute. Anyway, so they are quite terrifying looking.
I believe it.
The first guy that discovered it was this German pastor, and he called it a water bear in German. Waderen Beerman, could be.
A Waterbeer.
That's right. And they have 8 legs, 4 on either side. Nice. And they have basically no face, but it looks like just a hole right here.
Oh, that's creepy. Wait.
Yes, I'll show you a picture.
Ant-Man. I think they talk about him in Ant-Man. Oh, yeah, they have those in Ant-Man.
Yes.
They're creepy.
They're terrifying.
Yeah. I don't like it.
But the internet likes them because they're apparently kind of cute to some people. But anyway, they're mostly found in like puddles, lakes, ponds.
Yeah.
A lot of times even on dry land where there's like moss, but there's like little pockets of moisture. Mm-hmm. And they're so small they just kind of live in that. But they've been found all over the world. The Arctic, the Antarctic, beach sand dunes, I read somewhere.
Strong
environment
differences there.
Yes.
Good for them.
So wherever there's at least a little bit of moisture, they can be found.
They can do it.
It sounds like.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure if you know where they can be found around you, you can grab one somehow, throw it under a microscope, grab your little tweezers.
Oh, there's a tardigrade.
Just oop, I found one. And they're kind of best known for being immortal.
Oh, yes.
So, or at least really, really good at surviving harsh conditions such as everything I just mentioned.
Yellowstone.
Yes.
Are they in?
Yes. So here's some of the ranges of things they've survived in. They survived negative 457 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow. Holy cow.
As well as 300 degrees Fahrenheit.
So they just don't care.
They don't care.
Temperatures, like, that doesn't bother me.
Tardigrade's like, I love a cold plunge. I love a hot shower. Either way.
It's all psychologically healthy.
Really? Either one's good for you? It's good. It's good to vary it up anyway.
Yeah, can't have too much of one thing.
They can survive extreme radiation.
Okay.
And pressures up to 6 times the deepest part of the ocean.
Whoa.
So 6,000 atmospheres.
Is there anything that can take them out? Oh, this is the lead-in for a good movie. Like, the tardigrades are growing.
Or like a 40s black and white movie of like a giant tardigrade or something. Yep. Honestly, a big one, scary. Big one that moves fast.
Oh, yeah.
It's like... One museum... Oh, sorry, I skipped something. They can also survive in space. Because these guys also were launched into space.
Nice.
And brought back just fine. No deformities. They just...
Go out here for a little bit.
Okay. And
bring it back.
And found one in tomato, but...
Oh, man. Think of the stories those tardigrades had when they got back to their tardigrade friends.
I've seen some stuff, guys.
Man,
you wouldn't believe
that giant dude just sent me out into the void.
It's wild out there. You're not going to like it. You'll survive.
I wake up screaming.
One museum had some moss on display.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it was like, look at this moss, or it's just part of an exhibit. Real moss for over 120 years.
Mm.
And at some point, when soaked in water, they found a living and active tardigrade in it.
Nice.
So there's also been reports that they can survive thousands of years.
Wow.
Like based on the permafrost that they found around them. When they've found them, like dug and found them, thousands of years. And so they're kind of able to do this because they enter something called cryptobiosis.
Oh, scientists have looked into that for extending life, I bet.
I'm sure. There's a guy online right now that's kind of trendy. He's like a 40, 50-year-old guy he like takes his son's blood. Have you seen that guy?
I've seen that.
He's kind of very pale but he looks quite young.
He pays his son like millions of dollars and does like blood infusions constantly.
Yes.
Like daily, maybe? Or weekly or something?
Basically, that's all he does.
Man.
So he wants to do that more. He wants to exercise and do more blood transfusions. So that's why he's living longer, so he can do more blood transfusions.
So we can keep doing them.
Yeah.
It's creepy. Yeah. He's like, you kind of look like a teenager, but I can also kind of tell you're like 45 somehow.
Yeah. I think he will just... I mean, I don't want to say anything. I think he's going to die the same age. Maybe he'll get to 100 or something.
Yeah.
There's also people that get to 100 that smoke a cigarette or smoke a pack a day or drink a Dr. Pepper every day, and I think maybe he'll...
Just read the Blue Zone book. That's a better guide than getting blood transfusions from your children.
Zone?
Blue Zones, it's like a nutrition...
Oh.
They find these zones where... they find more people than average live past 100, and then they just study what they eat and how they...
Interesting.
Yeah. There's a Netflix series on it, too. It's pretty good.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
I'll have access to Netflix soon, so I'll have it to move. I'm so excited.
Yes.
Okay.
Back to the teeny weeny.
Yeah. Teeny weeny dimension. Let's shrink down and get on your Segway. I hope you had your helmet on this whole time. Yeah. Let's go. Lean. Everybody lean. So, cryptobiosis... Basically, they get to one step away from death and can preserve themselves for... We don't know how long.
Sure.
They can get their metabolism down to 0.01% of what it normally is.
Wow.
Think of that. You eat maybe a piece of salt.
Yep.
For
you're set.
10 years, you're good to go.
Man, that's nuts.
And so there's different types of cryptobiosis where if they don't have enough oxygen or water or if there's too much pressure or not enough pressure, it does this different, it does basically has a different modes that it goes in almost.
Cool.
And so when there's not enough water, they curl up into a tight ball and surround themselves with a shield of sugar.
Nice.
Sugar molecules.
Oh, I love that.
And they just hang out there forever.
I'll just wait for more water.
Until water comes back, and then they just kind of stretch out, and they're like,
nice little nap.
It's fine. I don't care. I'm back.
Barely parched.
Got a little sore throat. So that's the tardigrade, the moss piglet, the water bear.
Yep.
Very, very interesting.
Fascinating.
But there's one more animal that I think is a little bit more interesting, a little bit less well known.
Yes.
And also actually might potentially be immortal. Because a tardigrade, if something eats it,
Yep.
like you'll have a basically another microscopic animal could just eat it and it would die.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't understand how that would work. If you can get tossed out into space, I think maybe they're just a little fragile, but conditions they can survive.
Sure, for sure.
So this next animal sounds so intense, very cool.
Yes.
You have any guesses what it could be called?
No, nothing. The whale monster.
No,
the mini whale.
It's also like a mythological creature. It's called the Hydra.
The Hydra. Oh,
So-
hope they don't multiply.
Oh boy, let me tell you. So these things, they're like about an inch long.
Uh-huh.
Basically, let me describe it to you.
Please.
It's a tube.
Mm-hmm.
On one end, there's a bunch of long fingers or tentacles.
Unhappy with that
On
already.
the other, there's like a foot or like a little hand.
Oh, fun.
Think about that. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes. I don't love it.
Your face. Oh.
That's not horrible.
It's not horrible.
If it was
was
the size
huge.
of a spider, I'd be terrified.
It's like a bendy tree with no leaves.
Yeah.
Think about it like that.
Sure.
Anyway, so I love these things. I just recently found out about them. They have lots of methods of moving.
Uh-huh.
One way is they'll just stand like a sea anemone on their foot with their like little their fingers up in the air,
Uh-huh.
and they'll just scoot slowly.
Nice.
One way is they'll swim. They'll just kind of, like a eel or something.
Yeah.
One way they will, I think they just like walk somehow. Like they topple, like they stand on the foot,
Uh-huh.
and then it almost does like it bends over, touches its head to the ground.
Classic.
Like a slinky.
Yep.
They'll move like that. And I've also read that they can roll. Like they put their foot in their mouth, which is where the fingers are, and they'll just roll.
That's fantastic.
Somersault.
So much versatility.
I know. Like, nothing will stop this thing.
I'm moving no matter what.
Talk about all-terrain. And so the interesting thing, that's pretty interesting, but that's not the really interesting thing about the Hydra, is they're masters of cellular regeneration.
Oh.
So they say every 20 days, all the cells have regenerated and they don't age. So scientists have never found any
What?
signs of aging in a Hydra.
No way.
And that's because they're always regenerating, and they use their own stem cells to create cells that have issues, and it creates new cells for
just fine.
They don't know how long it can survive for. And these things are not even like you can see them with your eye.
Yeah.
They get big enough that you can
That's
actually see them.
crazy. That feels like something that people should be looking into more. I'm sure they
I
probably
think are. Yeah, and like people, I know some people have an issue with them in their fish tanks.
Huh.
Basically, if you cut a Hydra in half, you'll get 2 Hydras.
2 Hydra will take its
Which
place.
exactly is how it was named after.
Uh-huh.
Exactly, figuring it out.
I'm making connections
There you
here.
Cut a Hydra in 20 pieces. Guess how many Hydras you get?
40.
20. Because each piece grows back into a full Hydra.
Oh.
Think about that.
So the 2 halves... Wait, so if you
Cut it in half, you get 2, because you cut it into 2 pieces.
Uh-huh.
Each half becomes its own Hydra.
I see.
Cut it into
That.
20 different pieces, 20 Hydras.
Wow. Oh, you. Wow.
There you go.
I am amazed.
It's like worms and starfish also do this, but not to this extent. You didn't know that?
I don't think I did.
That's a fun fact.
Worms, maybe. Starfish? That's wild.
Yeah, a starfish, you can cut off its arm, and it'll grow back a new arm, or the arm will become a new starfish.
That's wild.
It's wild. I tell you what.
I had no idea.
It's true.
Wow. The more you know.
I don't know what scientists are doing with these hydras, but somehow they turned one inside out, and it was fine. It worked itself out. It's no biggie. It's
what a cruel thing to test.
Also, something interesting about these guys is so they have the mouth. Its mouth is at where so it's a tube.
Yep.
And then where the foot is, that's closed off. The other end of the tube is the mouth. That's where all the fingers are. The mouth will reseal when it's not eating.
Whoa.
And then when it has to eat again and opens its mouth, it just basically rips its mouth open. Isn't that disgusting?
How terrifying.
And
I don't love that.
Even more terrifying is the food comes out the same place
Not
that it
ideal.
goes in.
Not
Which,
ideal.
I mean, if you're an owl, you're used to that. But I love animals. I do.
So interesting.
I love animals.
So interesting.
Okay, the most interesting thing about hydras, I think, to me, is if you blend a hydra, move all the cells to a different place, wait, it'll rearrange itself.
No way.
You can literally put it in a blender for as long as you want. It'll come back.
Juice it up.
Yes.
What?
How wild is that?
How does that...
What? In researching for this, there's a YouTube channel called Journey to the Microcosmos.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Journey to the Microcosmos.
Journey to the Microcosmos.
Cool name. Shout out.
It's the Hank Green. You know that guy? The YouTube dude who's like a...
yes.
His brother writes all those books. Anyway. Somebody knows what I'm talking about. It's basically just footage of the microscope, and you're looking at all these. It's so interesting.
Wow.
But things happen everywhere. Like this is just like they take some pond water. I just need to get a microscope or something, because I just
try stuff.
It's so crazy down there.
Cool.
The teeny weeny dimension, stuff's just swimming around, like in. Nothing. If you get small enough, you can swim in air. Did you know that?
No.
It's true.
Wow.
Anyway, I just get excited. So these hydras just also like the tardigrade. If they get too hungry or the water's too gross or they get eaten, they'll die.
Yeah.
Which I also don't understand. Oh, my camera died.
Oh.
Okay. Well, we're
almost done.
Finishing it up. People like the technical difficulties. It makes them feel at home.
Yeah.
It's normal. I just to wrap it up, the world is amazing.
Yeah.
Like you think about.
That's so cool.
Sometimes I try and think as big as I possibly can. Like think about how there's billions of galaxies. But then you also go the opposite direction and think about how small things are, and there's billions of creatures in like in just a handful.
And then, like, who knows if we can develop the technology to look deeper than that, even.
Yeah, because, like...
What do we see then?
Exactly. We don't know how small things can go, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't think. And we don't know how big things are.
Ant-Man is just starting to scratch the surface of what's possible.
I did think about Ant-Man a lot, and it made me sad because the last Ant-Man was pretty garbage.
It was very poopy.
Anyway.
Forgive my language.
You're forgiven. Anyway, so that's the Hydra, the tardigrade, the brine shrimp, sea monkey.
Wow.
It just was so interesting looking at all those tiny little things.
Fascinating.
So far, they're not really. I mean, they're so small. They're so different than us, and you can't really figure out how to make a person's arm grow back. As far as I know,
we may be on our way.
Might be able to learn something. Something could happen soon.
That's crazy. Good topic. This is very interesting.
I love animals. I'm realizing.
Yeah. Next, Steve Irwin.
I might be. No, I think his son might be the next
Oh yeah,
Steve
I've
Irwin.
seen that.
Robert Irwin.
Have you seen a guy? There's a guy on Instagram I'm infinitely more interested in. He yoinks things. Do you know what I'm talking about?
He like is in the rainforest or something.
Yeah.
That guy is crazy.
Maybe the craziest guy I've ever seen.
I don't know.
He just like, his mission every time he makes a video is like, I'm looking for a 20-foot python, I think.
Uh-huh.
He's like, I'm just trying to find a 20-foot python. But as he's walking around, he sees all these other things, always at night.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's like giant crocodiles, and he's like, oh, I see another swamp puppy.
Yeah.
And like, hey, big guy. And he just like looks at it, and it's like creeping up on him. And then he's like, oh, look, a snake. Yoink.
You can't watch those without your mouth just dropping
Seriously,
open.
they're phenomenal. And the snakes are like, they'll like bite him, and he's like, oh, it looks like I got yoinked by this snake. Doesn't matter.
Or he has like 3 lizards between all of his fingers or something. It's like, who are you?
Look at all these lizards I yoinked.
Anyway, the world is fascinating.
World
the
is
microscopic world, the teeny weeny dimension, even more fascinating.
Yeah.
And man, okay, if you press on your Segway, if you press that button,
click,
then you'll come back. So welcome back to the regular dimension.
Thanks.
And, you would have figured it out eventually.
Yeah, I was terrified.
I'd get 1-star rating on TripAdvisor if
You didn't teach me how.
If
If you left me in the teeny weeny dimension,
yeah,
it'd
because
be
you still get
terrifying.
service. You could have rated me 1 star.
Seriously, they got Wi-Fi down there. It's bigger.
True. That's all I got to say.
Cool. Nice. This was a fun topic. A fun topic. Fun episode. Lots of laughs. Lots of giggles. We forgot to mention this. We're in person.
That's true.
We're not in person often.
That's true.
It's so fun to record in person.
I feel like people could tell.
Yeah.
You can't be as quick
No.
when you're online.
Snip, snap,
Just
snip, snap.
Talk about quick back and forth.
We are so clever.
So quick.
The punishment. Do you remember? I kind of forgot what it was.
The funny thing is I usually do, so if I ask you what the punishment is, it's probably because I forgot.
No.
But I remember this one. Is the loser has to wear...
I just remembered.
You cannot wear socks for 3 days. And since it's winter, like if you're wearing shoes or boots or something, no socks.
No socks. If you're at home and the floor is really cold,
Barefoot.
doesn't matter.
No slippers.
We are in the middle of like the coldest part of the year here too. It's
true.
been like negative 20s. So
Yeah, if it was summer, this would be like a reward.
the winner gets to not wear socks.
So go vote.
Yes.
The link in either our social media or just scroll down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
There's a direct link. You can vote. Takes 5 seconds. Go do it now. And then I will win.
Or me.
Hopefully. Because I've lost 2 in a row.
Oh yeah, because you lost the...
No. I should win because I had a good topic.
You lost the season finale and the season premiere.
That was horrible. Yeah.
Just because I'm spitting fire out here.
It's true. You're doing a great job.
Thanks.
I'm proud of you.
You too. You've brought fire this season as well.
Thank you.
It's just a fire podcast. Which reminds me, leave us a rating. It also takes 5 seconds, helps us out.
Yeah, we love it. Either Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever you listen on.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Let's end this pitch. I will do the honors.
Okay.
Larry, it's good to see you, man. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Would you please do the honors?